Hey, Richard Bryce here, tennis hacker. Today I want to help you with keeping your head still on contact. It's a really important piece of the puzzle because keeping your head still on contact, having your eyes lined up with that contact point is really important for being consistent. But it's also something that a lot of players struggle with. So in this video, I want to help you understand why that is and give you some things that you can do to work on it. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, it'd be awesome if you could give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to my channel. One of the big things that I do with tennis players is I help them to understand why they can't do the things that they're struggling with and give them ways to change it so they can play tennis at a higher level. We know that we've got to do it. We just got to keep our head still. It's going to increase the chances of us making our shot, but it can be very hard to do. So the first reason that a lot of players struggle to keep their head still on contact is just because they're not focusing on it. If you want to change something, you have to be very specific with what you're trying to do and you have to focus on it. Now, where this is hard is because it's the last thing that kind of happens. There's all this stuff going on before it, and if you're working on your technique, it's really tempting to get distracted by all this other stuff and forget about keeping your head still. So if you want to keep your head still on contact, you need to focus on that and only that until it becomes a more habituated and more natural thing. Now, a lot of people do actually have problems with focus. I've created another video that talks about that and goes into that in detail, so you might want to check that out. But the first step is focus on it. If you focus on it, it's going to improve your ability to keep your head still. Okay, the next thing we need to talk about, and something that causes a lot of people problems, is timing. If you have got poor timing and you hit the ball late, it makes it much harder to keep your head still on contact. Now, this happens a lot more on the forehand, but it happens on the backhand as well. If I start my swing late, you know, ideally on the forehand, we want to be meeting that ball out in front, so that's where we want to hit it. And if I do that, it's pretty easy to keep my head still. But if I hit that ball late, it's now much harder for me to get my head into that position just because the range of motion that our neck has. So that's the first thing that can create a problem for people. It's also why people often find it easier to keep their head still on the backhand, because the head is pointing slightly more forwards rather than having to turn so much to the side. But this is also about kind of forcing it. When you start your swing in time, when you've got good timing, it's a lot more effortless. You know, you start with the leg drive goes into the torso rotation, these things create the racket lag, and then you've got the arm that comes through. It's a little bit more effortless. If you start the swing late, it's when players are kind of forcing things, and when you're forcing things, it often causes players to lift the head up. So solving the timing piece of the puzzle can be really important for this. So I've got another video that you should check out about why do I hit the ball late. That's going to give you a lot of ideas and ways that you can try and improve it. The next thing that can really make it tricky for you to keep your head still on contact is that you don't have good enough control over your spine. A lot of adult tennis players struggle to move and control their thoracic spine and to move and control their neck. So what I want to do is show you a couple of really simple drills that you can work on. They're kind of assessments and training exercises. I get that they look completely stupid, but they require a lot of movement and coordination, so you can see whether your spine is mobile, is coordinated, and if it isn't, then you can work on them. So for the first one, we want to go for the thoracic spine. You should be able to bend and straighten it like this, or kind of extend and round it back. Needs to be mobile that way. So can you do that? Can you move the thoracic spine from side to side? So ideally, I should have my pelvis still. I might find that I'm not doing it very well when I watch the video back, because talking and doing this stuff is a little bit more tricky. But can you move your thoracic spine from side to side? And then can you make a circle? So can I combine those movements and make a circle? So I get that this isn't something that you do on a tennis court. I'll show you from the side. I get that you don't make that precise movement on court, but this is mobility and it's coordination and control of your spine, and that's going to be important for every aspect of the stroke, but it's going to be really important for keeping your head still on contact. And we can do the same thing with the neck. So can you do a forwards and backwards glide, kind of keeping your chin level? So I'm trying to keep my chin level. Can I glide it forwards and back? Can you move it from side to side? So keeping my shoulders still, ideally. Can I glide from side to side like that? And can I combine those into a circle? Now again, I know that your head doesn't do that exact movement when you're playing tennis, but it's a mobility and motor control coordination exercise, because if you can't control your spine, if you can't control your neck when you're standing there, and these are perfectly normal things that everybody should be able to do, it's going to be really tricky to be moving out to the ball, hitting a wide forehand and keeping your head still. It's going to be hard to keep your head still on your volleys and when you're doing these different things, because they're way more advanced than what I've just shown you. So if you aren't able to do those things, you want to work on them, but often players aren't able to get their spine moving properly because the systems behind the scenes that control spinal movement don't work optimally enough. So there are things that you can do about that, but just let me quickly explain. We've got this thing that looks like this. This is your balance system. You have a vestibular system that lives in the inner ear. We've got these round loopy things, and we've got a couple of round ball things there. They all do different things. Well, they live in your inner ear. They're really small, so smaller than a fingernail. We've got one on each side. One of the key things that this system does is there's a reflex that allows you to keep your eyes still as your head moves. So that's going to be really important for just ball tracking, but keeping your head still on contact. This is going to be one of the things that enables you to keep things still. There's a reflex that enables you to keep your head still as your body moves. And really, this whole system basically controls your ability to move your spine in the way that it should be moving. And when I work with adult tennis players, a lot of them really struggle with this system. It just doesn't function well enough. Because of that, maybe they've got problems with their visual tracking and their eye movements, but also spinal control and mobility. And working on these systems can make a really big difference. So I've got a free program that's going to help you with this. It's a Tennis Vision Starter program. So there's a number of drills. It's going to help you with other visual skills you need on court, but it's got 2 different exercises that are going to help you train this vestibular system. It's going to help you with your spinal mobility. It's going to help you keep your head still on contact and make a big difference in your game. So there's a link in the description that's going to allow you to download that. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to keep your head still on contact, get out, focus on it. That's part of it. You want to work on your timing, because having good timing is going to be essential, but then working on these underlying systems, you'll really make a big difference. Be able to keep your head more still. It's going to massively improve your consistency. Okay, hope you found the video helpful. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you next time.